This is a Bachelor recap from a guy. Now, I normally do these recaps in a blog, but since, we live in a day and age where people only read headlines anyway, I figured, what, let's give video a shot. This is my first recap of Matt James's season. That's for two reasons. First and foremost, I never watch episode 1. I just don't do it. It's too cringy. I don't like it. So I just avoid it altogether. And then I was going to start with episode 2, but despite what Chris Harrison tweeted, there actually was a very important sporting event on that night. It was the College Football National Championship. And so I decided to just dive in head first with episode 3. And I haven't seen any of the previous episodes. I know like bits and details, but that's about it. So this week we start with a girl fainting, I guess. I don't know. She was already fainted by the time this episode started. But I gotta admit, that's a bold move. That's a bold move for episode 3. Normally we don't get the faints and the ambulances pulling up until about episode 7. It's like playing a wild draw 4 on your first turn in Uno. I mean, yeah, I guess you can do that, but maybe save it for later in the game. And apparently this was mid-rose ceremony too, which just is a whole nother level of schemery. I mean, it's a solid strategy, don't get me wrong, but it seems a little early for this one. So then they go back and finish the rose ceremony as if no one ever fainted. And he gives roses to Marley, Kayla? Is that, we're really spelling Kayla that way? We're not, I don't even know, why are we spelling names that way? And then Victoria, whose job is apparently queen. I don't know. Again, I'm late to the party, but I just felt it was weird if her job title was queen, but she was dressed like a Disney princess. Then comes the group date card, which ultimately gives me one of my favorite Bachelor traditions. The girls making happy faces even though they want no part of that group date because they want the one-on-one time. So you'll get girls who are like Ashley, Tiffany, Megan, Jennifer, Kylie. Sorry, it's Kayla. Jennifer P, Jennifer A, Jennifer Z, Jennifer K. One of the things I also find funny about The Bachelor during this day and age of quarantine and COVID is that instead of taking the show to like exotic locations and Chris Harrison walking in and say, ladies, pack your bags, we're going to Fiji. Instead, they'll be like, ladies, pack your bags because this week we're going to conference room B. So on this group date, they all get together and, they reveal that Chris Harrison once wrote a novel, which to me is news. I had no idea that Chris was also an author. Immediately, I was like, maybe I should go pick up this book until I found out it was erotica. What? So as a cheap way to kind of sell more books for Chris Harrison, all of the girls for this group date wrote their own erotica novels. It's awkward. And if you're wondering how much erotica you can read on network television, the answer is not much. Every single story that these girls read were like, I can feel his cold heart pressed firmly against with my so aroused, the eroticness of my I can feel it like a taco shell underneath the quivering. I wanted to moan, and I started to dripping down my up, down, upwards. Underwear, wearing a tutu at my own quinceañera, wanted his and he screamed, Thank you. There was more talk about sex during this group date than an entire episode of The Good Doctor. I've only ever seen the trailers for that show, but that guy is sleeping with someone new every single week. So then we get our first one-on-one date card, and this one goes to Serena, which the person receiving the one-on-one date card is always awkward because that person always feels like they need to deliver some sort of monologue, which they don't. They're like trying to contain their excitement. Look, I know we all want this, and I'm happy to spend some time with them, but also like I'm aware of like how hard it can be for the rest of you, and just so good to see them. But while they're all down there listening to Serena talk, no one knew where Sarah was. Where's Sarah? Tended to be kind of like a theme. People were like, maybe she fainted again. I don't know. I could care less. Well, it turns out Sarah was actually crashing the group date. She shows up at the group date while Katie's got some one-on-one time with Matt and says, hey, can I steal him for a sec? It's like, yeah, wait, you weren't even on this group date. How? Can she? Is that even allowed? Again, this feels like more of like an episode 7 move, but we're getting it in episode 3. So then Katie goes back to the rest of the girls, and they're all complaining about Sarah. And Victoria to me kind of feels like an extra in this episode because she's always just saying like things that like extras would say. Sarah? Why is she here?
Yeah.
So they all encourage Katie to go back and steal her time back. So she does, but she does a piss poor job at it.
Hey. Hi. So I wasn't sure if there was something like important since it was like
I don't know, our group date. So I don't know, are you guys done? Can I have my time back?
Katie's like too polite. She's just like, excuse me, I would actually like my time with him because this is a group date and you weren't even on this group date. So then Sarah's like, okay, well, can I have like 5 more minutes? And she's like, I'll give you 2. So then she comes back again, like probably like 30 seconds later. And she's like, okay, I want my time now. Sarah's like, okay, well, Matt, can you walk me out? So Matt walks her out. They kiss. And it's just like, okay, Sarah just completely ransacked that entire group date. But after Matt says goodbye, she walks back in to apologize to the group, which probably isn't the best idea because it went kind of like this.
It's impossible to fight them all at once.
Then Sarah tries like playing the whole victim card and she starts crying and she's like, I feel like I'm reaping what I sowed. Yeah, I would say so. So the group date rose ends up going to Rachel. And if you're wondering who Rachel is, so am I. I don't know anyone's name yet. I'm still getting to know everyone. She was one of the girls. So then it was time for the one-on-one date. So Matt shows up to pick up Serena. He's like, look, I just want to apologize for Sarah crashing that group date last night. And then he's like, wait a minute. What? Where is she? Yeah, guess what? She wasn't there. Like I said, it's a theme. Where's Sarah? So he goes up to talk to her before his date with Serena. And she's like, I thought about leaving. And he's like, well, I'm glad you didn't. Everyone at home is like, no, just go ahead and leave. So then Matt and Serena go on their one-on-one date, which is just horseback riding, which it honestly would have been awesome if Sarah literally Trojan horsed this date and just popped out of one of the ponies. It would have been a little bit gross, but also very funny. So then they just had a picnic out in the countryside, just amongst all the sheep poop. And then a donkey showed up, which I'm not entirely certain, but that may have just been Sarah in a donkey suit. So while the one-on-one date is going on, back at the resort, all the girls are just obviously laying into Sarah. Again, it went like this. Okay, that was a bit of an exaggeration. It was actually worse.
I hope that your connection with Matt is very strong right now because the rest of your living situation here is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know that one girl's name, but she kind of looks like Legolas from Lord of the Rings. And then afterwards, she says, I never want to hear her name or see her face again, which one of those is possible. The other one, I mean, her name is Sarah. You're gonna hear that name probably quite a few times for the rest of your life. And, I mean, let's be honest, you're probably gonna see her face again, too, because she crashes just about every date. So Sarah goes upstairs to be alone and cries. It was sad. So Katie goes up to talk to her, which honestly I did not see coming. I mean, leave it to Vibrator Girl to shake things up. So Sarah reveals that her dad is terminally ill and he's got like months to live, which is incredibly sad. Katie related to that, so they bonded over that, which was really sad. So she decided to go home. So she hops in the Escalade. It's out of here, which means we're probably going to see her again in episode 8 or 9. They'll make some dramatic return. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There was no rose ceremony at the end of this episode, so just kind of ended there. But thanks for watching.